I thought we started the game so well, and we even came out in the second half and won that first exchange. We're in the 21 points up, and we turned the ball over. And then after that, we lost our composure, didn't we? And look, it was an avalanche of penalties as well. We piggybacked them time and time again. We got a yellow card, allowed them to run out of their own half. We didn't touch the ball for large parts of that second half because our discipline was so bad. I think it just came down to a lack of composure under a little bit of adversity there with giving away penalties, and we couldn't stem the flow, and that's on us as players.
Sione, where does this rank amongst some of the lowest points you've felt as Scotland there?
After last week, that feeling that we felt after the final whistle, it was hard feeling to take, and I think this one's worse for us because we talked about all the things that we were going to do and we got up 21 points, but we lost our composure. And I think, in the huddle I mentioned to the boys, myself included as the captain, as players, we're going to have to take a good hard look at ourselves because it's not a good enough performance, from us as the players with perfect game plan. We're executing the game plan. We're 21 points up and we lacked accuracy and composure when it was needed. We score one more try after going 21 points up, and I think, the floodgates got open from there. We were playing some good rugby, but we didn't do that, and to be honest, we deserve to probably cop it a little bit as a playing group. The guys that went out there, and I feel a little bit guilty because we look at some of the boys that didn't play today, and they've been preparing us so well week in, week out throughout this campaign, and the boys that had the responsibility of playing today weren't good, and that performance was just not good enough, and we got to own that.
Support was obviously booed at the end. Sione, is that fair?
Sorry?
Some of the supporters were booing at the end. Was that fair?
I think so, yeah. Gregor spoke in the change room about back-to-back home sellouts. Not every stadium does that. We watched some rugby yesterday and there were some empty seats in the stadium, not at our stadium. And yeah, like I said, there's a little bit of guilt there because people pay good money to come watch us, and I think we need to cop this one as a playing group, especially, and put our hands up and say that's not good enough.
Sione, that whole control, composure piece has been such a big work on for this group. How much of a retrograde step does that feel for it to kind of fall apart like it did?
Yeah, it hurts, doesn't it? Especially when you're speaking about it throughout the week. The coaches are speaking about it, about how do we fix that, and we have these conversations, and then I just think, and this is the most important thing, I think it comes down to individual error at the time, and that's the hard part, is that we got to look back at this game and pick out where you went wrong as an individual, I feel like, and even me as a captain, where did I go wrong in this game to the point where we couldn't stem the flow of their momentum. So it's going to be a tough couple of days, but tell the boys we got to stick together now because it's coming, I feel like, and we probably deserve it as a playing group. So, yeah.
At half time, did you talk about how dangerous they are? Was there talk about avoiding complacency because once they get ahead of steam up, they can be so dangerous?
Yeah, I think we always were aware of all their athletes right across the field, but I think when we got the yellow card especially, we let them run at us rather than, maybe getting up and taking their time away and their space away so their athletes couldn't get, their head of steam up, and they ended up breaking us off the kickoff after the yellow card, and we couldn't stem the flow from there. So there was no complacency. We knew the threats were out there, and to be honest, we started the second half really well. We were in there 22, but like I said, we did not punish them like we were supposed to do and like we were instructed to do by the coaches. So that's on us.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Did you see that coming at all? Because everything Sione said was going so well up to 45, 50 minutes.
No, I definitely didn't see that coming. And the things we talked about at half time, which was to be composed and be patient if we get more opportunities in the 22. We actually did that, and we scored our third try. And we focused a lot on our discipline in terms of making sure we weren't getting away cheap penalties, which had been the case in the first half. And that's what happened again. So and obviously tougher for us when we were a man down. I thought Argentina's bench made a huge impact in the game. The momentum went back in their favour. We did wrestle it back for a few minutes, but not long enough to get the win.
Gregor, Finn Russell showed some brilliance in the first half, and then it was arguably a loose pass from him that caused a massive momentum shift. But you have to accept that as that's what he's like as a player. He can be brilliant, and sometimes he can cost your team points.
No, he's a brilliant player for us, and a lot of the positive rugby we were playing, he's conducting that. I thought the forwards were outstanding with their running lines off him, and to get to 21-0 against the top quality team, Finn's a big part of that. I think it's such a huge momentum swing, which is sometimes it happens. Sometimes you make an error and nothing happens from it. It's come to the opposition, but for it to flip the field and us to lose a yellow card, it was obviously very costly, and that's down to actions of others as well that we got the yellow card, and through very good play by Argentina.
Gregor, there was a huge momentum shift in Cardiff last year's Six Nations. Is there a worry you kind of hung on then? Is there a worry that this team's not learning the lesson of being able to regather the kind of momentum in a game?
Well, today, yes. We've had a few games since that one in Cardiff, and we did regather the momentum, and we won that game. So, yeah, I think the international rugby it is about momentum. Like last week, we were 17-0 down and got to 17-all, and disappointed that we didn't kick on. And that's especially when you're playing the top teams. They're going to have moments. They had a lot of moments in the first half, and we defended very well. And to have 0 against a quality side like Argentina showed we were capable of doing that, but the final 30 minutes that wasn't the case, and we'll be looking closely at what we can do as coaches. Could we have done anything differently with whether it's during the week or changes off the bench, and then obviously as Sione says, how we can improve as a playing group.
So there is still a mental fragility among the squad?
No, and I don't think there was before. I think it's being able to handle situations as they come, and collectively and individually we have to do better.
Gregor, Argentina left some of their better players on the bench today. England did that yesterday as well. Obviously South Africa have done it. Is this something that you might look at now with what's happened today and what has happened previously in terms of mixing up selection a little bit so that you don't leave yourself so exposed in the last 20?
Yeah, could be an option. I think we're seeing the impact of benches in games, and I think it was obviously the right time for the Argentina bench to come on when they were trailing, and they threw everything at us and they were a man up. But those guys off the bench were outstanding, and I thought some of the starters played very well in that final 20 minutes too.
It wasn't clicking for them for 55 minutes. Did you feel that almost you could have been further ahead than 21-0, given that they were missing kicks to touch, the passes weren't sticking, and they were sort of there for the taking?
We could have been. I think we had two pretty good opportunities, but they could have taken more of their chances too. They were in our 22. They missed kicks at goal, so that's just the way rugby is. You're not going to convert 100% your chances. I think at half time we would convert more than they did, and then in the second half it was flipped.